Tom Brady is back. TB12, Tampa Bay. The dude retired in February and is back in March. Obviously, I'm a little biased here. I was hoping that he would have been wearing red and gold on the way back, but one way or the other, Tom is back in a Bay, not the Bay I would have preferred, but Tom is back in a Bay. Bruce Arians definitely giving him a big old bear hug on the way in. Not exactly Kyle Trask season or time for Blaine Gabbert to take over. I know Blaine Gabbert definitely was receiving a little bit of adoration from Arians in recent weeks, saying, hey, he's just never been on a good team. Well, screw you, Bruce. That 2015, 2016 San Francisco 49ers team, I tell you what, they were ready to do some damage with Cassius Marsh, our leading pass rusher, and Jermaine Curley as our leading wide receiver one. Yeah. Blaine Gabbert wasted potential on that team. Just absolutely wasted the talent on that team. But I tell you, someone who doesn't waste potential, Tom Brady. Whenever he's on any team, your team is now competing for his Super Bowl, as evidenced by the Vegas odd makers just instantly putting Tampa back into the top 5 betting odds. Kyle, what's your thoughts?
Number one, it's Super Bowl champion Blaine Gabbert to you, good sir. That will forever be something we can hold on his resume for the rest of time. Number two, Tom Brady just went on vacation. Like, I don't care what anyone else says about the retirement or not a retirement. Dude just went on vacation like he would every single February, every single year, because Tom Brady hasn't showed up to voluntary OTAs or showed up to mini camps in years. He takes a real vacation every single offseason. He went on vacation. He came back. I'm interested to see if there's reporting about behind the scenes workings and fallouts with Tampa Bay that come out sometime in the next few weeks, and, disdain for Bruce Arians, who's reluctant to give up the power to Tom Brady within that organization. But yeah, Tampa Bay is the exact same team they were last year. They're the third or the fourth best team in the NFC, and that's maybe good enough in a lucky year where, they play a playoff game against Drew Brees, and then Aaron Rodgers throws 3 interceptions in a playoff game, and then Patrick Mahomes' offensive line gets hurt, that maybe they just luck their way into another championship. They're good enough. Tampa's bringing back Chris Godwin, which I assume Tom Brady had something to do with last week, because it was surprising that they gave Godwin a second franchise tag. So I'm interested to see what happened in the last 2 weeks that led up to this, because Tom Brady did not just wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm just going to play football again. I've forgiven the Bucs for all of the problems we had at the end. Let's just decide that we're going to let bygones be bygones and play good old-fashioned football. I'm pretty sure that's not what happened over the past month.
Over the last month, as I just saw every report, I knew it. I knew it in my gut. This guy isn't retired. Obviously, I had ulterior motives. I wanted to come to San Francisco. I wanted to play in a Niners uniform, but I just knew it, that he wasn't done with it, because you saw the Ronaldo film, and that was pretty much whenever he's like, I don't know, I might come back, gave him that face like it's seeming likely. And then you saw the reports of maybe it was a falling out with Arians that was mostly the reason he was doing it. And the fact he didn't do like the one-day traditional signing with your team kind of thing when it came to the Patriots, didn't have a press conference. If Tom Brady's going to retire, I feel like he'd do it kind of an old school way, or kind of the traditional press conference route. I don't think he would just do it in an Instagram post like he did. I feel like that was just an anticlimactic way to end his NFL career. That's why I just had a harder time buying into it as it started to play out. And you're right. What did it equate to? Essentially, him just taking his normal February vacation. No harm, no foul. Kind of like in the same way, like the MLB lockout. In the end, we didn't miss games, so it didn't really matter. It's kind of just the status quo. Thing that I found noteworthy about when he chose to announce that he was coming back, obviously it's right before NFL free agency really kicks off. Smart move by Tom, because now this means that the Bucs know what they're working with going into the free agency period, so they don't overspend. And then Tom says, I feel like coming back. So Tom knew what he was doing in terms of like a timeline for when he would choose to return or not return. It is interesting you mentioned, did he have a hand in Chris Godwin deciding to stay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or that franchise tag? It does make you wonder, as a retired player, retired with quotes here, was he able to elude the system with that legal tampering period? I mean, can a retired player tamper?
I don't know. I mean, this whole year of his contract was essentially cap relief last year that allowed them to keep Chris Godwin in the first place. And now that they're here, I don't even know how they have the money to keep Chris Godwin without cutting or trading any of the players on the team. Like, I don't understand how this is happening. But at the same time, Tampa Bay is kind of in a weird place, right? Like, they were talking about Baker Mayfield and they were talking about Blaine Gabbert being the guy, the way the Saints were talking about Jameis. And, they were one of these teams that now was like a roster without a quarterback again, or a rebel without a cause. And they were just needed that quarterback to make them, they were 8-8 with Jameis, and then they were a Super Bowl champion or second round exit with Tom Brady. Like, they just really tried to find a quarterback. They couldn't get any of the options that were out there. And so Tampa kind of just opened the door for Tom Brady. Unfortunately, Tom Brady, felt the same way about coming back. And now it's as if nothing ever happened. Like you said, Tom Brady just went on vacation and then decided to come back and play with a fun little drama of a retirement eulogy mixed in between.
Do you think this was secret Schefter spite just in the back of Tom's mind? He's like, you know what? That Adam Schefter prick, I tell you,
I do think there's
my retirement.
Some truth to it. There's some truth to this because Tom Brady made painfully sure this time that nobody could spoil his decision. Like, Tom Brady went straight to Instagram, straight to Twitter. He made sure he got to make this announcement. He learned from his mistakes last time of waiting till after the Super Bowl, waiting. He knew what his decision was going to be, but he was going to do the right timing. And then all of a sudden, Schefter and Darlington reported it too early for this to be a big boom for him, or maybe do it during the ESPN Plus documentary that he was doing. And, he didn't get that opportunity, but he was going to make damn sure that he got in this time before the reporters that he was going to come back.
Yeah. Tom Brady just wants that JJ Watt source me moment. And if there's ever a player in NFL history that I think would play an entire season just out of spite, it would be Tom Brady. He's literally just built different. He's built that way.
I don't know if it's spite. I feel like Tom Brady tried to spite Bill Belichick and it didn't work out. And then he got really depressed. Like, I think that Tom Brady is more of he likes to be wanted. Tom Brady likes people to support him. And Tom Brady very much will do everything he can because Tom Brady is a robot that was built to throw footballs. And
okay. And yeah, if there's a pie chart, I'm sure spite is at least a sliver on that pie. Overall, I would just say too, you talk about him being a robot, a football loving robot. I would just say probably loves football. And in fairness to millions of Americans that have to just work a boring 9 to 5, don't have an opportunity to retire at age 45. There's like worse things you could be doing. When you talk about spending time with family, I've heard Tony Dungy mention spending time with your family while you're playing. It's really just really what you make of it. So it's totally possible to have a work-life balance in the same way that, Joe that gets home from the factory has like 4 to 5 hours to spend with his kids each day. And I've heard Colin Cowherd mention this multiple times. Tom Brady's kids are adults. Well, not adults, but, teenagers. They don't really want to spend time with, dad in the same way that they would if they were like little kids. Like when you have kids in the developmental years versus like when you have kids that are already grown up and making their own decisions. Like obviously they love their dad, but they probably also love seeing their dad play on NFL Sundays. Like, hey, that's my dad out there winning Super Bowls. And Tom is in a position where it's not like the wheels came off the bus last year. 5,300 passing yards in my mind. If I had a vote, he would be my MVP. I look at all the statistics, what I value. Touchdown interception ratio is like one of the big things that Aaron had him beat on is in QBR. But like every other stat, I'm like, he's over 1,000 passing yards on Aaron. He's got more touchdowns. He's got more completions. Like you can make a solid case for Tom Brady should have been the MVP last year. Maybe that's like one more thing that he wants to do. He wants to get another MVP on his resume. We're asking the question, like, what left does Tom have to prove? I don't think he's really proving anything. I think he just, is happy doing it. It's what he loves to do. And kudos to him. It's like, obviously we're both podcasting. We're both broadcasting. It'd be like, if we made a lot of money podcasting or broadcasting just because we've done that, does that mean, just retire at age 45? Granted, we're not getting tackled by 300-pound dudes to do our job here, but it's your passion and what you like. Do it as long as you can. Do it till you can't, right?
Well, those things that you were talking about is the reason why I said there was a 0% chance Tom Brady would retire after there were reports that he might retire if they make a run in the playoffs or lose to the Rams or whatever it was back then. I said, there's no way he's retiring. This whole thing was to play until he was 45. And technically, I would have been correct if I said there was no chance he wasn't playing next year. He did technically retire, but no harm, no foul on this
We kind
one.
of flip-flopped on this one as it progressed. It's just you hear one story and then one podcast, and then Tom makes one quote here and one quote there. The last notable one that came to mind is him literally counting the weeks he got to spend with his family. Like, oh yeah, I've been hanging out with my wife and family for 5 weeks. Who keeps an exact count of how many weeks, how many days? It's like one of those jail sentences where they're literally marking the wall like with chalk. Like,
don't do that to Tom Brady's kids. Tom Brady's kids are wonderful.
I'm sure they're wonderful and whatnot, but you know what is also wonderful? The love and adoration of fans. By the way, feel sorry for that one fan that bought Tom Brady's last touchdown pass. Yeah, that's
512,000. I saw that going on the internet. But also, Tom Brady fully admits, again, I have said many times, I have read the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Seth Wickersham book that is a really great insight on the Patriots dynasty. But Tom Brady has said many a times, football's his first love, man. Push comes to shove, football is the first love.
Well, speaking of spite, what if it's not for Schefter? It's just to spite that one dude. Really?
You're gonna spend Seth only Wickersham?
No. The guy that bought his football for only $500,000. Only $500,000. That's my last touchdown pass, man. You know what? The next one, my next last touchdown pass is going to be clearly over $1 million. It's going to be at least 7 figures. I'm saying that's the only reason Tom Brady unretired, because his last touchdown sold for only 6 figures.
This feels like the classic Aaron Rodgers conundrum over again, which is Tom Brady saying, F you, Tampa. I'm going to prove you wrong by winning a lot of games for you. That feels like where they're at right now, which is Bruce Arians.
I'm going to win so fucking hard right now.
Yeah, it's giving Bruce Arians the middle finger by essentially taking the power from him and putting a scare in him. But also Bruce Arians put his name on, we're not trading Tom Brady for anything. We will not
5 first-round picks, right? Just bad business. We'll see. Can we offer you a Trey Lance in these trying times?
I wouldn't do that if I were the 49ers. I wouldn't do that. But I mean, it depends how all in you are.
It's like,
it depends how all in you are.
Any chance you have Tom Brady, you have a chance to win a Super Bowl, and you only need one Super Bowl to validate any decision you make on that front. I know it's not going to happen. I know it's a less than 1% chance it happens, but the fact that it's a non-zero chance gives me a little bit of hope, a little bit of optimism here. So, I just got to ride that wave until something happens. Something that
presumably Trey Lance is better than Jimmy Garoppolo, and the Patriots chose Tom Brady over Jimmy Garoppolo 7 years ago. So would you take 7 years older Tom Brady or a guy who's presumably supposed to be better than Jimmy Garoppolo?
I'm taking a guy who threw for 5,000 passing yards last year. That's my last metric to go off of. 40 plus touchdowns. If we even get 75% of that, that's already improvement over the majority of quarterbacks that are currently throwing the football. Anyway, guys, Tom Brady, he's back. Guess who's back? Back again. Tell a friend. I don't remember the rest of the song.
He didn't go anywhere. He went on vacation and then came
back from the golf course. Kyle, he's back from the golf course.
Or Europe. I think he went to Europe for a month.
Anyway, guys, let us know what are your thoughts on the Tom Brady unretirement. Again, using a lot of quotation marks throughout this one. But anyway, unretirement and coming back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Leave a like on this video. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We passed the 2K mark. I mean, let's push the 3K before football season. What do you say? All right, guys. Juju Talk Sports, Kyle Ledbetter here. Stay safe, happy, and healthy, and we will see you on the next one.